It's Amanda. I am going to be speaking with Scotch Malt Whisky Society. Hopefully this time it will work. For some reason, this Instagram Live thing seems to always have trouble.
I don't know
Hello.
what happened.
You froze.
So sorry about that. I don't know if that
That's
was
right.
me. It could be. But yeah, so as I was saying, and he kind of created this group of friends who, would go and purchase these casks from distilleries and enjoy them. And that just kind of continued to grow as it kind of naturally would. I mean, if I had a friend who just had a random amazing cask of whiskey sitting in their living room, I definitely want to go over and enjoy that with them. So it just has kind of grown over the years. And as far as our chapter here in the United States, we have an incredible member base. I cannot speak highly enough of the people that I personally get to interact with every day, on the membership side. And it's
How many
really a
members do you
treat.
have in the U.S.?
That's a good question. I don't know what that number is looking like as of now. But I know we're kind of creeping up, in the, I think we're over probably 3,000 members at this point here in the United States. So we're continuing to grow. And it's really exciting because that means, we get more whiskey this way, and it's a good balance. So
Now, is that based all over America, or is that mostly in metropolitan cities? Or
no, so I mean, we have members all over the country. And so it's really awesome to be able to talk to, I mean, you really get to interact and speak with so many people throughout the country who all love whiskey. And it's a really cool thing. I can't get jazzed up about it enough. It's probably, I mean, yes, the whiskey is great. And we are so proud of these whiskeys, but, getting to interact with the people is really, I mean, that's the heart of what we do. So,
and how many bottlings or bottles are there at this moment after 35 years?
Gosh, we've bottled from over 150 different distilleries around the world. And every month what we do is we have something called an outturn. And what that outturn is essentially our monthly release of new cask that we, put out for members. And we release anywhere from, I mean, on the smaller side, it's maybe 15, upwards to 30 different single cask every month. And we break that up into 2 outturns or releases. We typically have a release on the first and the third Tuesday of every month. And so we're constantly, bringing incredible single cask whiskey over here to our members, and we release those every month.
The branding is really cool, interesting, and different than any other whiskey company I've ever seen. There's different names for each bottle and different descriptions. Now, who comes up with tell me some of your favorite of the names and how do you guys come up with these names?
Gosh, that's hard. It's like kind of picking your favorite kid, it's really hard to pick a favorite. I do have some that have always kind of stuck with me over the years. Actually, the one society cask that totally stole my heart and totally converted me to a fangirl of the society was one called Sensual Sensory Sensation. It's a tongue twister, and that was a 16-year-old Highland in a Sauterne cask, much kind of almost like the big winner that we had in cask 46.104. But gosh, some of the names are, I mean, I have some behind me that are really interesting. We just released one called Put the Pebble to the Pedal, which I think is kind of fun. We had one that was fully matured in a sherry butt called I Like Big Butts. That one was kind of fun. So we really have, that's one of the really cool things. I think that what we do is, our kind of outlook on whiskey is, at the end of the day, this is whiskey and it's meant to be fun and it should be fun. And we really try to kind of exude that in everything that we do. And so I'll kind of show you. So on all of our bottles, kind of look like this. They're all green, so you can't see exactly what the color is inside. And on the label, we have a tasting panel actually over in Scotland. And it is their very difficult job to blind taste, many, many, many single cask. And what they do is they all get together, obviously pre-COVID, they all get together and they blind taste cask samples. And in order for these whiskeys to eventually get bottled, they have to pass a nose test. So the entire panel has to nose it. And if somebody's like, I'm not so sure about this, then it goes back to the warehouse. But if everybody kind of agrees on that, then it goes to a taste test. And so it kind of has to pass this, you know, these whiskeys have to pass a series of tests through our tasting panel, which is kind of made up of just industry experts, people who have been doing this for a really long time. And it is their job to kind of give the test to these whiskeys going out to be bottled. But so once they kind of get bottled, I don't know if you can kind of see that. So we give it kind of a fun cheeky
is that one of the winners?
Yes, this was the big one. So we give it a, you know, fun, cheeky name, and all the information is actually on the label. So we give you the age, we give you the date that it was distilled, we give you the region that it comes from, and then the cask makeup. So if it is a double matured whiskey like this one is, we'll give you what the initial cask was and then what the finishing cask was. And then ABV is also included on this, and then it also tells you how many bottles we got from that particular cask, as well as the distillery number it comes from. So this label is like kind of jam-packed full of information, which makes it, you know, really helpful when people are looking to kind of pick up some of our releases.
And can you give me some specific information with that winner, Turn Me Inside Out?
Yes, so this particular cask was, it's from Speyside Distillery. It's actually from a distillery that I believe is very underrated. And that's also a very cool thing about what we do is we are bottling single cask from distilleries that very rarely even put out single malts. You know, a lot of these distilleries are big blend houses. And so we have the opportunity to kind of showcase what it is they're doing in single cask form, which I think is really, really cool because you get an opportunity to taste whiskeys you would never get an opportunity to taste otherwise. And it has, you know, personally, I was a member before I was a part of the team, and that has to be, I think, one of the biggest gifts of being with the society is that I've been able to expose my palate to, I mean, so many different styles of whiskey, and I think that's a really special thing. But for this particular one, it spent 11 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead, and then the remainder of its maturation was in a first fill ex-Sauterne barrique. And I'm a sucker for anything in Sauterne, so I was very excited even before the big announcement was made that this won the Grand Award. And it's just an absolutely beautiful whiskey. We have a spirits manager named Ewan Campbell, and he is responsible for basically taking our inventory and making magic happen with it. He is responsible for, you know, taking those casks and saying, you know, I think we can elevate this even further. And he will transfer that into or re-rack that into a different cask. I mean, he has this incredible palate and kind of vision for, you know, this just massive exploration of flavor. And so it was he who really decided this should probably be a double matured whiskey and transferred this into that first fill ex-Sauterne barrique. And I think he definitely made the right choice.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So tell me, with that specific bottle, I ask these 3 questions usually at the end of my interviews.
Okay.
What would be the perfect song to listen to while drinking Turn Me Inside Out?
Gosh. You know, for me, this whiskey really does set a scene. When I drink a whiskey like this, it takes me to like the south of France, and I'm outside and the wind's blowing and there's like lavender swirling about, and you know, it's perfect weather, and I have like every amazing cheese in the world sitting in front of me, and I have a glass of this whiskey, and I want to hear something that like relaxes me, I guess. And so I'd probably listen to some Alexis French, who I think is a brilliant pianist and composer. So probably something from him would be, I think, the perfect kind of soundtrack for this whiskey.
Very cool. And you mentioned cheese, but what would be the perfect meal to prepare with it?
Oh, wow. So I'm a sucker for cake and whiskey pairings. So I would probably pair this with like a strawberry shortcake or some kind of Napoleon or something along those lines. But
Very,
strawberry shortcake, I think, would probably be my first pick.
very cool. Very cool. So, how many of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's products have, I know they've all medaled really, really highly, but some of them have gotten best in show, best in class. How many products have won in the past? I know the first
Oh
one was
gosh.
2018 or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's a great question. I don't know what that number is, to be honest. What we do is, we only, submit a small handful of these casks. And, we've been so, proud that they've scored and medaled, the way that they have. And, but it's not to take away from all of the other incredible casks that we have. We're only selecting a very small handful. It's not something we do often. And
Hmm.
so I always kind of like to think that, yes, this, well deserved. And so we're so proud of this whiskey, but we're really proud of all of them. Like really, truly, because these are single cask.
Right.
It is literally a whiskey snapshot in time that we have captured in a bottle. And that experience is going to be different for me. It's going to be different for you. It's going to be different for our neighbors. It's going to be a different experience for everyone. And I
Hmm.
think that's so special about these casks is that, it really offers something different for everyone. And, so like I said, as we, just submit a small handful of these, we really like to think that really any of these whiskeys could, be this.
Amazing.
So
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
thank you so
no,
much for joining
it's
us today.
yeah. Thank you for having me. And if anybody has any questions about the society, or please feel free to reach out, and you can go to our website at smwsa.com, and feel free to send us a message, and we'll be happy to answer anything we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.